Uncanny Travel is an 8-minute demon made by Ceruglyphy. It's not like most levels you see. Sure, it uses just over 40,000 objects, barely anything for its length. But what stands out more is its atmosphere, its story. You're trapped in a strange world where reality doesn't apply. Your goal is, of course, to escape. The song communicates a feeling of strange unease and surreality. Every part has a sort of white-on-black style, which I've always liked. The style does a really good job of making things feel less real, yet more enveloping, like diving into a strange sort of insanity. I'm sure everything was amplified for me, considering I played this from 12 to 1 at night, and I highly recommend you play this late at night as well, when everything around you is dark and quiet, when you can experience it in silence. Each part is unique from each other while still consistently matching the theme. There's something fascinating and new around every corner. The low object count actually works in its favor. The more empty and simple style leaves way more up to the imagination, which is good for its atmosphere. This level was originally going to be 14 minutes long. I would have loved to see that, but I understand that the longer a level is, the more problems you get building it. I respect Ceru's decision to cut it short, and 8 minutes is still plenty of time to envelop you in the level. That's one thing you need a long level for. Shorter levels don't quite allow you to become immersed the way long ones do. I'd say if you want something to be atmospheric, it needs to be a minute 40 at least. And that's with more fast-paced levels and the very minimum. This level is extremely long, which works in its favor, making you lose track of time and fall into this strange and uncanny atmosphere, with a bit of adrenaline mixed in because, damn, you do not want to have to go back all that way. At the same time though, the level of focus you need only makes the level feel more real, so I don't think that's a bad thing. The quality of each part varies. I will admit some of them could be more polished and or creative, but with a level this long, and with its limitations, it's understandable. Some of the parts I absolutely adore though. The part with the thorns and grid feels very complete and interesting, with some nice movements to top it off. The part with the gears and bricks has a very good atmosphere with a great foreground effect. I highly recommend interesting effects like these, as even if they're simple, they add a lot to your levels. This part also looks extremely object light, so that's cool. The part with the wooden background is one of the most atmospheric parts, feeling like you're in a sort of old abandoned house, which makes you feel trapped, but in a way where you almost don't want to leave. The parallax gives a good sense of depth that makes it work even better, and there's a very nice pulsing effect going across the screen that just looks so good. The block design is very simple, yet effective, and it fits in very well. Personally, my favorite part of the level is the robot part with the slopes in the background. You feel like you're traveling through a strange sort of field, but it fades away so close to you that it retains that trapped feeling very well. There's a nice border around it that also adds to that feeling. The block design is, of course, very simple, but it does what it does very well. The angles and shapes fit in very nicely, and it just is overall a perfect example of how to make something simple, yet effective. Now, as amazing as this level is, this wouldn't be a good review unless I talked about some things I don't like as well. The ship part at the beginning drags on for too long. I know it's setting up the slow atmosphere and isn't supposed to change like every 3 seconds, but I do have to admit it's a bit annoying to redo every time I die after it, which is a lot. The gameplay could have had more mechanics to keep it interesting, but it's not a big deal. The part with the waterfalls admittedly doesn't look as good as a lot of the other parts. The waterfalls are okay, they're actually kinda nice, but the platforms themselves are awkwardly shaped. The background pattern, while pretty, is also a bit stagnant. There could have been some air deco here, and it suffers from a lack of effects. Even fading everything in and out with a black screen could have been nice, since it's so bright. The ship part with the spinning squares is really hard. That's all, just died there a lot. Could be nerfed a bit to balance the level. Looks pretty nice, one of the better looking parts. The part with the wooden background is also pretty hard, but it's like earlier on in the level, so it's not a big deal. It's strange that the level name shows up 2/3 through the level. I know this was going to be longer, but since it isn't, I'd get rid of it as it kinda serves as a distraction that breaks the immersion a bit. It's kind of unexpected and the player begins to think about why it's there, rather than focusing on the atmosphere the level's been building. Not that big of a problem, but it does cause more harm than good. The part after it is also a bit messy. The checker blocks are too detailed for this level. It would look better with a more solid and simple block design. The blocks in the spider part near the end suffer the same issue, and there's also a lot of stuff going on. Especially with the text effect, everything becomes too busy. Like I've said, this level is better when it feels more empty and enclosed. The text effect isn't bad though. In fact, I think it serves the level well. I just think the other decoration could support it better. Maybe also get rid of the glow lines, or even better, maybe have them at a low opacity and make them fade in and out, something cool like that. The last robot part is kinda bland. It could do with some foreground effects, air deco, or more interesting borders. The background is also a bit broken. I know Ceru said this is because of the length of the level, but I know when you rotate things in the editor while playtesting, they can break. I'd recommend disabling all rotation triggers rotating complex groups of objects while playtesting to avoid this. That may have broke the background more, but I can't be sure. Rotation triggers will also just break in any case if they go on for too long, even just playing the level normally. Ceru, after Partition's video, added some spinning things at the end of the level. They honestly look too busy, and I like more the feeling of fading out into nothing. It fits better. I'd change it back personally. There are a couple 144Hz bugs in this level that could be fixed. Pretty much just borders that move off screen over time. This is why I had to use Partition's video and not my own. Hopefully 2.2 will fix this, but in the meantime you can do something like I did in Simplest Disco, where you add a 144Hz mode that moves everything approximately 15 units to the right every 50 seconds, something like that. Well, that's all I have to say. If you want to watch the whole level, I'll be linking a video in the description and in the end screen. If you want to play the level, the ID will be in the description as well, along with the song per usual. This level really is a work of art, and I hope to see people strive to make more enveloping levels like this more. It's something I don't see enough of in this community. Well, thank you for watching, and remember that reality is only what you make it to be. Reality is only what you make it. Uncanny travel is an... There's no hiding from the unperceived. Very nice pulsing effect. I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you later.